gonna start this 3-day adventure with the most famous locations on day one, and that's because these are the things that, like, if you visit New York and you don't see them, I'm gonna be mad at you.
To enhance this video further, I've created a free 3-day PDF itinerary for you to follow along with. You can get that by scanning the QR code on screen with your phone now, or clicking the link in the video description.
As we're going through this day, I'm literally planning everything logistically convenient location-wise, okay? So that's why it's important. We're gonna start right here in Central Park. Central Park is an icon of New York. Central Park is 843 acres, and a fun little fact that a lot of people don't know is it is completely man-made. Every single thing you see here has been crafted meticulously by Calvert Vaux and Frederick Law Olmsted in the mid-1800s. Now, the reason this park looks so unrealistically gorgeous is because it was designed to look like a European painting. Back in the 1800s, when Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux won the competition to design the park, that's actually how they got this job. During that time frame, a lot of people couldn't travel because traveling was really expensive back then. It's still expensive now, but back then it was definitely something for the elite only. And since Central Park was a place where everyone could meet, they wanted to show different experiences. So as you explore this park, you'll see places from all over the world. There's castles that look like Scotland and Ireland. There's gardens that are inspired by Shakespeare. I mean, it is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. I could literally talk about Central Park for hours. I have, because I've done tours here, but I have 2 tours that I made a video on, and I can link those below for you guys. They're on YouTube, totally free to watch, and you can actually follow those tours and give yourself a tour of Central Park just by hand with me guiding you. So that's what I recommend you start here with. Definitely check the weather, because depending on the time of year you're visiting, it could be freezing like it is today, or it could be very hot like in the summer. So start here, and I'll see you at the next spot. There's so much to see in Central Park that you can spend several hours here. I mean, we have the Central Park Zoo. We even have a museum inside the park. Not a lot of people realize this, but the Met Museum is actually inside of Central Park. It's right on the edge. So there's a lot to see. So I recommend that you don't, rush, and you have a nice picnic here. It's classic New York. You could do a brunch. It's between breakfast and lunch, so you could have like an 11 o'clock brunch here, have a nice picnic, look at the views. There are a few places that I prefer picnics. This rock I'm standing on, I'll link it below. You could have it here, although it's not as cozy because you're on a rock, but I prefer doing it right outside of Belvedere Castle, because nowhere else in New York City are you going to have views of a castle and the New York City skyline than there. So it is just classic, iconic New York again. Now, if you really want to be New Yorker style, right, I recommend doing a bacon, egg, and cheese from a local deli with a bagel. No other bagel in this country is as good as a bagel in New York, trust me. I've explored the country a lot, and they're just better here. That's the bottom line. Go to a local deli. There's literally a million of them. There's no point in me saying like a name, because New Yorkers, we just go to the local bodega. That's how it is. And you just say bacon, egg, and cheese. Boom, done. Have it here in the park. That is your perfect brunch. And with that, we're gonna head down to Grand Central next to see all of the famous sites in Midtown that you need to check off your bucket list. These spots have appeared in many, many movies. I'm sure you'll recognize them. Let's go. After you have your lovely little picnic at Central Park, I recommend coming here to Grand Central. This is the part in the day where you're going to knock out many bucket list locations in the city, such as the Chrysler Building right there, Empire State Building right there, and Grand Central right here, among many others. We're here at Grand Central, and I want to share a little bit about this architectural gem built in 1913 by the fabulous Cornelius Vanderbilt. You can see him right there in a statue over there. So many interesting stories about this place. I'm gonna give you a brief overview because I could just go on for hours about this place. We're not gonna do that. See up there? That's a Tiffany's clock. Guess how big it is? It's actually 13 feet long. In fact, the numbers themselves, a person could just pop right out of it. So like when you're here, you don't think how big stuff really is. I mean, It is shocking. This is also where they filmed very famous movie scenes like the Avengers, the final version of the Avengers movie where they have that big battle. They did it right here at night. Super, super cool, and there's a lot of hidden secrets inside. Let me show you, come with me. So we just entered Grand Central right across from Pershing Square, and one of the little family fun facts about the Vanderbilts is their family symbol was an acorn. So as you're here in Grand Central, you're going to see a lot of hidden acorns throughout the space. For example, this chandelier is an acorn, and then you also have many acorns around this clock right here that are all hidden. So keep an eye out as you walk through Grand Central. There are a lot of them. Welcome to the main part of Grand Central Terminal. This fabulous concourse with a celestial ceiling right up top, made with gold leafing. This area is where 750,000 people travel through every single day, and there's a lot of interesting history here. My favorite is this clock right here. This is an opal clock. It's worth $20 million. It's one of the most expensive pieces in the public eye. The best way to see any city, and this is what I do every time I go to any new city, is I go on a tour. I really do. So I have a tour called the Must See Manhattan Tour, and it will bring you to all of the best spots in this area. We'll start here at Grand Central. You're gonna go to the New York Public Library. You're gonna see Fifth Avenue. You're gonna see Times Square. You're gonna learn about the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building, Rockefeller Center, St. Patrick's Cathedral, Saks Fifth Avenue windows. You're gonna see all of that on this in a very consolidated 2.5-hour tour that is efficient. It's a great use of your time, and it will end at a very special spot. Let's go there right now. You can't come to New York without going to one of our observation decks. There's actually 5 observation decks in the city now. We have the Edge, Summit, Rockefeller Center, One World, and the Empire State Building. That's a lot of observation decks, so it's easy to get overwhelmed with which one to choose. Now, there are 2 that I really recommend visiting. One is this one. It's Top of the Rock. This is built in Rockefeller Center Plaza, which was originally began in 1931 by John Rockefeller Jr. It was created for the Metropolitan Opera House, but then during the Depression, that didn't really work out, so he made it into this amazing structure of multiple buildings with shopping centers, restaurants, an ice rink. You have the iconic Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. You have Top of the Rock, the crown jewel of it all. And of course, you have many recording studios like SNL's recording studio, which I love. The reason I recommend Top of the Rock over other observation decks is because you get that iconic New York City view that you see on the postcards. A lot of people always think, oh, I want to do the Empire State Building. But the thing about that is when you're on the Empire State Building, you actually can't see the Empire State Building. And that's such a classic part of the New York City skyline. So here you're gonna get that classic view. They also have 2 different experiences now, one that lifts you up even higher. You're already on the 70th floor, but there's like this kind of like lift that brings you up higher. And then there is the lunch atop a skyscraper photo. You can actually see it right here. This is a very famous photo. You probably recognize it. Well, now you can actually take it yourself. There's a beam that you can get strapped to and they'll lift you up and take your photo. And behind it, you'll see Central Park. It's really, really cool. Now, if you did join my Must See Manhattan tour, we actually drop you off right here and you'll go straight up to Top of the Rock. So that's all included in your experience, which makes it just easier. And that's why I did it. However, if you'd prefer to go to Summit, which is my second choice for observation decks, you can do that. This one's really interesting. It has a lot of different immersive experiences, including really great views of the city. You still see the Empire State Building. There are mirrored floors all over Summit, and then there's a room full of all of these inflatable balls. It looks like an anti-gravity room. It's absolutely wild. They also have a rooftop bar there. It's really, really cool. So those are the 2 spots I recommend. Save some time with both of these. I recommend allocating like 1 to 2 hours, and then we're gonna go to dinner. So let's go do that now.
For a fine dining pre-theater menu, check out the Lambs Club. This was the center of the American theatrical industry in the 20th century and was the first theatrical club in the United States, with members that you may have heard of, such as Charlie Chaplin, Fred Astaire, the Barrymores, John Wayne, and many more. Let's check out some of their delicious food. Our meal has been served. We are doing their pre-theater prefix menu, which they do every day from 5 to 6:30. Perfect timing before your show. Very excited to try their fluke crudo. Look how beautiful this is. It looks like a painting, right? And make sure you get some of that olive on the top there.
really yummy.
The main course is here. This is a chicken dish with chanterelles, baby turnips, confit leg, and farro. The sauce that they put on is super savory and flavorful. It feels almost like Thanksgiving dinner. I love this spot. Definitely come to the Lambs Club.
To end your first day here, I recommend seeing a Broadway show. Now, Broadway isn't just a street and a collection of theaters. It's the beating heart that represents entertainment and how it's developed over a century. The Broadway industry here in New York City actually generates more revenue than all of the professional sports teams in New York State and New Jersey combined. It is a huge deal here. And if you've never seen a Broadway show, you absolutely need to see it. In one of our iconic venues here between 41st Street and 57th Street. There's a few little reasons why a Broadway theater is considered a Broadway theater. Now, it doesn't just have to do with talent. A lot of people think like if you're on Broadway, you have to have a certain level of talent and that's the only thing that can be classified as Broadway. Yes, that's true. You have to be crazy talented. But a Broadway theater has to have over 500 seats and must be district to the Broadway zone. There are several shows that I recommend you see when you're here. My personal favorites are The Lion King, Wicked, Moulin Rouge, Book of Mormon. There's always new shows opening though, so I highly recommend you look at the roster, choose something that appeals to you. Broadway tickets can be pricey, so there are ways to get discounted tickets, and I talk about that in other videos, but one of the ways is through the TKTS booth right in Times Square. Although if you want to see like The Lion King or a big show like that, you're not gonna find those tickets there. So I recommend just saving, doing it for a special occasion. You're here in New York, that's the occasion after all, and enjoying. It's an amazing, amazing experience.
And that's day 1. See you day 2 via the link below, and don't miss out on getting this itinerary in a free, easy to follow PDF format. Scan the QR code on screen with your phone now, or click the link in the video description for it to be sent to your inbox. I'll see you on day 2.